pick that changed everything. Nobody saw this coming. And within seconds, an entire NBA franchise may have changed forever. The moment NBA Commissioner Adam Silver stepped to the podium and announced AJ Dybantsa as the #1 overall pick, the basketball world erupted. Social media exploded. Analysts immediately rewrote their predictions. Fans celebrated while critics questioned everything. But perhaps the biggest surprise wasn't just that Washington landed the most talked about prospect in years, it was the wave of reactions from NBA stars who instantly realized the balance of power in the Eastern Conference might be shifting. For years, the Washington Wizards have been searching for hope. Season after season, disappointment became routine. Rebuild after rebuild failed to deliver the superstar capable of changing the franchise's identity. Many fans wondered if Washington would ever become relevant again. Then came AJ Dybantsa. At just 19 years old, he isn't simply another talented rookie entering the league. To many scouts, executives, and former players, he represents something much bigger, a rare combination of elite athleticism, polished scoring ability, confidence under pressure, and a mindset that refuses to accept losing. Those qualities have already earned comparisons to some of the greatest wings the NBA has ever seen. But here's where the story becomes even more fascinating. Within minutes of the selection, respected NBA veterans and current superstars began reacting publicly. Some welcomed the decision. Others immediately started discussing what this could mean for the Wizards' future. When names like Trae Young, Anthony Davis, and franchise legend John Wall become part of the conversation, you know this isn't just another draft night headline, because everyone understands one thing: being selected first overall doesn't guarantee greatness. History has shown that some #1 picks become Hall of Famers, while others struggle under impossible expectations. Every possession will now be analyzed. Every mistake will become national news. Every victory will raise expectations even higher. The pressure surrounding AJ Dybantsa didn't begin when he stepped onto an NBA court. It began the exact moment his name echoed across Barclays Center. Now, the question isn't whether AJ has talent. The real question is whether he can carry the weight of an entire franchise desperate for a new beginning, or whether Washington is placing impossible expectations on the shoulders of a 19-year-old who hasn't played a single NBA game. And trust us, the answers become even more surprising as this story unfolds. Before we continue, let us know where you're watching from in the comments below. If you're excited to see whether AJ Dybantsa can transform the Wizards into contenders, hit that subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, and comment 1 if you believe he's the future face of the franchise, or 2 if you think the pressure is simply too much. Your opinion might be closer to truth than you think. Why Washington chose him over everyone else. The Wizards did not make this decision by accident. For weeks, the debate around the top pick was real. Darren Peterson had fans inside NBA front offices. His shot making, defense, and guard skills made him one of the most exciting prospects in years. But when Washington looked at the full picture, AJ Dybantsa gave them something even harder to find: size, scoring, versatility, star power. At 6'9", AJ does not move like a normal forward. He attacks like a guard, finishes like a wing, and sees the floor like a player who has already been studying NBA spacing for years. He can score in transition, punish smaller defenders, rise in the mid-range, draw contact, and create offense when the play breaks down. That matters because rebuilding teams do not just need talent, they need a player who can create structure when everything else falls apart. That is why Washington chose him. They were not simply drafting the best scorer. They were drafting the player they believed could become the face of the franchise. The player who could give fans a reason to come back, the player who could make free agents look at Washington differently, and the comparisons only made the decision louder. Tracy McGrady because of the smooth scoring, Paul George because of the two-way wing potential, Kevin Durant because of the size, touch, and shot creation. Those names are dangerous to mention around a teenager, but they explain why the league could not look away. Still, comparisons do not win games. AJ now has to prove that his college dominance can translate to NBA speed, NBA strength, and NBA pressure. Washington bet everything on the idea that it will. And if they are right, this was not just a draft pick. It was the night the Wizards finally found their center, the family that built a superstar. Before the lights, before the draft stage, before the Wizards hat touched his head, AJ Dybantsa's story began with sacrifice. His father, Ace, came from the Republic of Congo. His mother, Chelsea, came from Jamaica. Two different worlds, two different journeys, one family built on discipline, faith, and survival. That background matters because AJ was not raised inside comfort. He was raised inside purpose. Every workout had meaning. Every school decision had meaning. Every phone call, every road trip, every early morning, Every late-night gym session became part of a bigger plan. Ace was not just a father watching from the sideline. He became the gatekeeper, the protector, the manager, and the voice that kept the noise away. When agents, coaches, brands, and reporters started calling, Ace controlled the access. He wanted his son focused on two things: books and basketball. That protection shaped AJ. It allowed him to grow without being swallowed by hype. It allowed him to become famous without losing structure. It allowed him to chase greatness while still remembering who carried him there. That is why draft night became so emotional. AJ did not want to be announced casually. He wanted his full name called. The same name tied to his father. The same name that carried family history, sacrifice, and identity. When he stepped on stage, it was not just a teenager becoming the No.1 pick. It was a son honoring his father. That is the kind of detail fans remember. Because basketball numbers fade, but moments like that explain what a player is really made of. Washington did not just draft talent, they drafted a young man carrying generations on his back. The journey nobody saw. The public saw the highlights. They saw the rankings. They saw the viral clips. But they did not see the quiet years that built AJ Dybantsa. They did not see the long drives. They did not see the closed gyms during the pandemic. They did not see the search for open courts when the world had stopped. They did not see a family treating development like a mission. During the shutdown, when many players lost rhythm, AJ's circle found ways to keep working. The workouts became harder. The days became longer. The hunger became real. That period changed him. It turned basketball from something he loved into something he was willing to suffer for. Then came the movement. Boston, California, Utah, each stop added something different. Competition, exposure, discipline, adaptability. He was not chasing comfort, he was chasing growth. That is why his decision to leave bigger stages and eventually choose BYU shocked so many people. The blue blood programs wanted him. The traditional powers were waiting. But AJ did something most top prospects would never do. He chose the place he believed would develop him best. BYU was not the obvious choice. That is exactly why it mattered. It showed that AJ and his family were not making decisions for headlines. They were making decisions for the future. And that decision changed everything. Because in Provo, he did not disappear. He became bigger. He turned BYU into must-watch basketball. He became the highest-profile player in program history. He led the nation in scoring and forced the NBA to take him seriously as more than just a high school phenom. The journey was strange, but maybe that is why it worked. Great players do not always take the cleanest path. Sometimes they take the path that tests them first. The secret behind his rise. The secret behind AJ Dybantsa's rise was never just talent. Talent got people watching. Work ethic kept them watching. But development is what turned him into the #1 pick. At BYU, AJ found something he could not ignore. An NBA-style environment. Kevin Young brought professional-level teaching, spacing, film work, and player development into a college setting. For a player already thinking like a pro, that mattered more than tradition. Then came the Kevin Durant connection. Durant was not just AJ's favorite player. He became a symbol of what AJ could become if everything broke right. A tall, skilled, impossible-to-guard scorer who could bend defenses without forcing the game. When AJ was connected to Durant through BYU's staff, it added another layer to his development. Imagine being 19 and learning from people connected to the player you modeled your game after. That is not normal. But AJ's resume was already unusual. Team USA experience, international competition, FIBA success, MVP honors, high-pressure games before he ever became a college star. Those experiences gave him something most rookies do not have: comfort in uncomfortable settings. That is why Washington believed in him. They saw more than points. They saw maturity. They saw a player who had already played under pressure, already handled expectations, already adapted to different roles, different teammates, different system. Still, the NBA is different. The spacing is tighter, the defenders are stronger, the mistakes are louder, but AJ's path suggests he does not run from challenges. He studies them, he absorbs them, then he grows, and that may be the most important trait of all. Because the No.1 pick is not about who you are on draft night. It is about who you become after everyone starts hunting you. The NBA reacts. The moment AJ Dybantsa became a Wizard, the reaction started moving faster than the draft broadcast itself. Trae Young welcomed him. Anthony Davis became part of the conversation. John Wall, the last great No.1 pick Washington truly believed in, offered praise that hit differently. When Wall compared AJ to a young Tracy McGrady, it was not just a compliment. It felt like a torch being passed. Wall understands Washington. He understands what it means to be drafted as the savior of a franchise. He understands the love, the pressure, the hope, and the burden that comes with being the player everyone expects to change everything. So when Wall spoke highly of AJ, Wizards fans listened. Trae Young's reaction mattered too, because this is not a normal rookie situation. AJ is not walking into an empty locker room with no direction. He is joining a team with established stars, big personalities, and immediate expectations. That can help him. It can also complicate everything. Young needs the ball. Davis needs touches. AJ needs room to grow. Washington now has to build an identity around 3 players at very different stages of their careers. One is trying to prove he can win at the highest level. One is trying to stay healthy and relevant in a new chapter. One is trying to become the future of the league. That is a fascinating mix, and the NBA knows it. That is why the reaction was so loud. People were not just reacting to a pick, they were reacting to the possibility that Washington might suddenly matter again. For years, the Wizards were easy to ignore. Now, with AJ in the building, ignoring them may no longer be possible. Can he save the Wizards? This is the question hanging over everything now. Can AJ Dybantsa actually save the Washington Wizards? Because Washington did not just draft a talented teenager. They drafted a symbol, they drafted hope, they drafted the one player fans can point to and say, maybe this time, things will finally be different. And that is what makes this entire situation so powerful, but also so dangerous. On paper, the idea is exciting. Trae Young gives Washington elite playmaking, deep range shooting, and the kind of offensive creativity that can change a game in 1 quarter. Anthony Davis gives them size, defense, championship experience, and a veteran presence who understands what real pressure feels like. AJ gives them the young wing with superstar upside, the fresh face, the explosive scorer, the player who could grow into the identity of the entire franchise. Add Alex Sarr, Bilal Coulibaly, Trey Johnson, and the rest of Washington's young core, and suddenly the Wizards do not look like a hopeless rebuild anymore. They look like a team trying to skip steps. They look like a team tired of being patient. They look like a franchise that has spent too many years at the bottom and finally wants to push back. But paper does not win in the NBA. Fit does. And that is where the real test begins. Can Trae Young control the offense without slowing AJ's development? Can he become the table setter instead of needing to dominate every possession? Can Anthony Davis stay healthy enough to anchor the front court and give this team a defensive backbone? Can AJ accept that some nights he may be the third option while still preparing to become the first option in the future? Those are not small questions. Because when a team adds this much talent this quickly, expectations move faster than chemistry. Fans see names and immediately think playoffs. Media sees star power and immediately creates pressure. Opposing teams see a rookie No.1 pick and immediately circle the matchup. Nobody is going to give Washington time just because the roster is new. That is the brutal part. The Wizards are trying to build and compete at the same time. If everything clicks, they could become one of the most surprising teams in the Eastern Conference. Trae can bend defenses from 30 feet. Davis can erase mistakes at the rim. AJ can attack mismatches, run the floor, and give Washington the kind of wing scoring they have been missing for years. Sarr can protect the paint. Coulibaly can defend multiple positions. Suddenly, Washington has length, speed, shot creation, and enough veteran experience to be taken seriously. But if things go wrong, the pressure could become brutal. A losing streak would bring criticism. Bad body language would become a headline. Missed shots would become debates. If Trae takes too many shots, people will ask whether he is holding AJ back. If AJ struggles, people will question whether Washington reached too high. If Davis misses games, people will wonder if the plan was too fragile from the beginning. That is the danger of hope. Once a franchise gives fans something to believe in, patience disappears. And Washington fans have waited too long to be patient forever. This is a city that has watched other franchises rise, rebuild, win, fall, and rise again, while the Wizards kept searching for a real direction. So when AJ walks into that building, he is not just walking into a locker room. He is walking into years of frustration, years of jokes, years of empty expectations, and years of fans asking when their turn will finally come. AJ said he wants to help the Wizards make the playoff. That is bold, maybe too bold, but it also reveals how he sees himself. Not as a passenger, not as a project, not as a teenager waiting 3 seasons to matter. He wants responsibility immediately. He wants the city to know he is not afraid of the wait. He wants his teammates to understand that he came to Washington to compete, not just to develop quietly in the background. And maybe that is exactly what this franchise needs. Not a player who asks for patience, a player who challenges the entire organization to move faster. But saving a franchise is not done with one highlight dunk, one viral quote, or one great rookie month. It happens slowly. It happens in film sessions. It happens in ugly road losses. It happens when the shots are not falling and the cameras are still watching. It happens when a young star learns how to lead grown men, not just outscore other rookies. That is why this chapter of Washington basketball is so fascinating. AJ may be the answer, but the Wizards must become the right question. The biggest questions. For all the excitement around AJ Dybantsa, there are still questions Washington cannot ignore. And honestly, those questions may decide whether this becomes a franchise-changing success story or another painful reminder that potential is never enough. The first question is shooting. AJ can score from almost anywhere. He can get downhill, he can finish through contact, he can rise in the mid-range, he can create off the dribble and find angles that most forwards his size should not be able to find. But the NBA will test his three-point consistency immediately. Defenders at this level do not simply react to talent. They study weaknesses. They read scouting reports. They remember tendencies. If AJ is not punishing teams from deep, veteran defenders will go under screens, crowd the driving lanes, and force him to take the shots they want him to take. They will not care about his high school ranking. They will not care about draft night. They will make him prove everything possession by possession. That is the NBA. Respect is not given to young players. It is taken. The second question is defense. AJ has the tools, size, length, quickness, athleticism, and enough competitiveness to become a serious two-way player. But tools are only the beginning. Defense in the NBA is not just about wanting to guard. It is about understanding spacing, rotations, timing, communication, and discipline. A rookie can be athletic and still be late. A rookie can be long and still get screened out of a play. A rookie can have great instincts and still be targeted by veterans who know exactly how to manipulate young defender. That is why Washington's challenge will be delicate. They need AJ to grow defensively without overloading him too early. They need him to use his length and energy while learning when to gamble and when to stay solid. If he becomes a reliable defender, his ceiling changes completely. He stops being just an elite scoring prospect and becomes the kind of wing every championship team is desperate to find. The third question is pressure. This may be the biggest one, because being the #1 pick changes your life before you ever play a game. Every practice clip gets analyzed. Every quote gets posted. Every preseason bucket creates hype. Every rough night creates doubt. Fans want proof immediately. Media wants a storyline immediately. Opponents want to embarrass you immediately. That is a lonely place for a 19-year-old. And Washington is not a quiet situation anymore. Not with Trae Young there. Not with Anthony Davis there. Not with the entire franchise selling a new era. AJ is entering a team that wants to win now, but also needs him to develop correctly. That balance is difficult. If they push him too fast, mistakes could pile up. If they protect him too much, people may wonder why the #1 pick is being hidden. There is also the leadership question. Can AJ lead while still learning? Can he command respect from veterans without acting like he already owns the room? Can he be humble enough to listen, but confident enough to take over when the moment demands it? That balance separates real franchise players from talented scorers. Because a franchise player is not just the guy with the most points. He is the guy who changes the emotional temperature of a team. When things get chaotic, does he calm the room or add to the noise? When the team loses 3 straight, does he look inward or look for excuses? When a veteran challenges him, does he listen or shut down? Those moments will tell us more about AJ than any highlight reel ever could. Still, he has one advantage many young stars do not. He has been prepared for pressure. His family protected him from distractions. His father taught him structure. His coaches put him in demanding environments. International basketball exposed him to physical games, different styles, and high expectations. BYU gave him the keys and forced him to carry responsibility. So no, he is not walking into the NBA completely untested. But the NBA is different. The league has humbled players who look just as ready. It has exposed players who had every physical tool. It has taken prospects with superstar comparisons and forced them to rebuild their confidence from the ground up. That is why AJ's rookie season will be so important. Not because it has to be perfect. It will not be perfect. He will have rough shooting nights. He will make defensive mistakes. He will turn the ball over. He will have games where the speed looks overwhelming. That is normal. The real question is how he responds the next night, and the night after that, and the month after that. Does he adjust? Does he study? Does he keep attacking? Does he keep believing without becoming reckless? If the answer is yes, then Washington may have more than a star. They may have the foundation of something real. The future everyone is watching. The future of the Wizards now feels impossible to ignore. Every national broadcast will want the first look. Every analyst will circle the early games. Every fan will want to know if AJ Dybantsa is really the player Washington believes he can become. And the schedule will give the NBA plenty of storylines. His first game in a Wizards uniform, his first matchup against another top rookie, his first road game in a hostile arena, his first battle against Kevin Durant, the player he grew up admiring, that one will feel different. Because for AJ, Durant is not just another superstar. He is the blueprint, the player he watched, the player he studied, the player people now compare him to. And soon, they will share an NBA court with real stakes, real defenders, and real pressure. That is must-watch basketball. But Washington's future is bigger than one matchup. This season will show whether the Wizards are truly building something or simply enjoying a temporary wave of excitement. The front office still has work to do. The roster needs balance. The defense needs structure. The veterans need buy-in. The young players need patience and clarity. Most importantly, AJ needs space to grow without being crushed by the label of savior. That might be the hardest part. Because Washington fans have waited so long, they have heard promises before, they have seen rebuilds begin with optimism and end with disappointment. So now, when a player like AJ arrives, the hope feels powerful but also fragile. If he struggles, critics will get loud. If he flashes greatness, expectations will explode. Either way, the league will be watching. Because AJ Dybantsa is not just entering the NBA, he is entering a city that needs him to become something special, more than just basketball. In the end, this story is bigger than one draft pick. AJ Dybantsa represents a strategy, a risk, and a lesson. For Washington, the strategy is clear. Stop drifting, find a true centerpiece, surround him with veterans, and give the city a reason to believe again. The Wizards are not trying to rebuild quietly anymore. They are trying to turn potential into momentum before the rest of the league is ready. But strategy only works when culture follows. Trae Young must lead with maturity. Anthony Davis must bring stability. The young players must grow without jealousy. The coaching staff must create roles that make sense. And AJ must understand that becoming great is not about proving people right in one night. It is about earning trust over years. That is the real lesson. Greatness is never built by hype alone. It is built by discipline, sacrifice, patience, and the people who keep you grounded when the world starts screaming your name. AJ's journey shows that family matters. Preparation matters, humility matters. The name on the jersey matters because it carries everyone who helped you get there. And for young athletes watching, that may be the most important message. Dream big, but work quietly. Respect the people who protect you. Do not chase attention more than growth. Do not let praise make you lazy or criticism make you bitter. The path to greatness is not peaceful because it is easy. It becomes peaceful when you know who you are and what you stand for. Washington now has hope. AJ now has pressure. And the NBA now has a new story worth following. Whether he becomes an MVP, an all-star, or simply the player who brings pride back to DC, one thing is already clear. This is not just the beginning of a career. It is the beginning of a test. So tell us what you think. Can AJ Dybantsa really change the future of the Washington Wizards? Comment 1 if you believe he will become a superstar, or 2 if you think the pressure will be too much. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to subscribe, like, and share this video with every NBA fan who needs to see what might be coming next.